Here we go again, another maiden voyage test flight for the DJI Air 3 drone. It's number 3. If you saw my last video, you know what happened to number 2, and before that, number 1. Number 1 perished when I stepped on it. I was picking stuff up from the biggest shelf in my house, the floor. I backed up at one point and my heel just caught the corner of the carry case behind me storing the Air 3. I could feel the drone smush. A motor arm cracked near the motor, making the drone a little less than airworthy. Fortunately, when I bought the Air 3, I also bought 2 years' worth of the DJI Care Refresh program. In case of accidental damage or a flyaway, you simply return the broken stuff to DJI, and they cross-ship you a new aircraft or whatever you broke for $99. They cover shipping both ways. There's no hassle over warranty coverage, and obviously stepping on a drone is not covered by warranty. In 4 days, I had Air 3 number 2. Aside from the $99, my only other cost was the $5 for the FAA to register the new aircraft with its new serial number. You can watch my previous video, link in the description, to see what happened on the first flight of Air 3 number 2. I flew it out to my favorite nearby spot, Lake Shadow in the Shenandoah subdivision. I flew it out in normal mode and back in the faster sport mode. So far, so good. Then I had it follow me autonomously using Active Track. It did just fine, following me from the back, then the side, and then the front. The trouble happened on the way home. It was following me from behind and ducked under some low tree branches as expected, but right near home, its obstacle avoidance system got totally faked out by a sprawling river birch. I expected it would duck down underneath the branches or veer out over the street to bypass the tree. But no! The branches were spaced just right to make the Air 3 think it could find a way through the very heart of the foliage. When the drone realized the space was too narrow, it stopped and told me on the controller screen. My hands were already off the controls as I tried to walk back to the drone side of the tree so I could better see it and try to back it out of its predicament manually. But a gust of breeze was all it took to have a branch blow into a prop. The Air 3 had no room to maneuver out of the way of the moving branch. Down it went, nicking up a prop and making the camera gimbal permanently inoperative. Damn. So it was time to use Care Refresh number 2. Back went the Air 3 number 2 to DJI on a Saturday. By Wednesday, I had another fresh Air 3 with another serial number to register at the FAA. That brings us to today's Air 3 number 3. We're doing a brief test flight, not to Lake Shadow, but roughly the same distance out to the southwest. Lots of Wi-Fi interference potential out that way, so it should be a good test of the OcuSync 4 video link. And we won't go too close to the infamous river birch tree that swallowed Air 3 number 2. Okay, we're out almost 3,800 feet and our altitude is 364 feet. The video link is getting a little bit weak, so we'll yaw the drone around, which may actually weaken the signal further due to the antenna orientation. We'll switch into sport mode for the trip home. That should kick our speed up from about 26 miles per hour on the way out in normal mode to about 46 miles per hour in sport mode. But of course, in sport mode, we'll have no obstacle avoidance because the drone won't be able to brake for a stop in time if the sensors spot an obstacle. Okay, now we're in sport mode. Let's see what we get for speed. We just got to 47 miles an hour, so it looks like this Air 3 passes the speed test. The FPV screen in the upper left is showing us our virtual home point with the little circled H. We'll line up to drop down to a lower altitude and then do some tracking shots and test for obstacle avoidance. We'll also do something we didn't get to do with the Air 3 number 2, and that's making sure that the 4K camera works with the alternate lens, the 3x 70mm telephoto. While we're setting up to test the Spotlight follow mode, let me tell you a little more about my experiences with the DJI Care Refresh program. All I had to do was go online and into my account on DJI.com. That account was opened when I activated Air 3 number 1, along with my Care Refresh purchase of 2 years coverage. I would get up to 4 replacements, 2 of which could be flyaways where I'd have no broken aircraft to return. It cost me $189 when I bought the Air 3 for $1,549 from B&H Photo in September of 2023. Was it worth it? You bet. And I still have 2 more uses available to me. When that expires in 2025, I can extend the coverage for a 3rd year. Unless Uncle Sam bans all my Chinese-made drones before then, I will extend it. Uncle Sam already effectively grounded my whole fleet of drones a few months ago with the ill-conceived implementation of the remote ID requirement before there were enough remote ID modules to go around. And there's more to like about DJI customer service. When I shipped back my Air 3 number 1, I forgot to remove the ND16 filter that I had on the camera and replace it with the stock clear glass lens that came with the drone. I mentioned it on the DJI forum, and Administrator DJI Susan responded by asking me to give her my Care Refresh case number so she could track it down. I did, and she did. They shipped me the ND16 filter along with my FAA registration label and the strip of Velcro I used to mount my obstruction light for night flight. All of that was above and beyond the Call of Duty as far as I'm concerned. Kudos and a shout out to Susan and the DJI repair facility folks. We stopped the 4K recording momentarily so we could switch the camera from the 1x 28mm wide-angle lens to the 3x 70mm telephoto. We'll use that to try out the Spotlight mode of ActiveTrack. The drone will keep the selected target in the center of the camera frame regardless of how I move the drone. Alright, I'll draw a box around myself on the screen and use myself as the Spotlight active shot target. We'll move the drone sideways. It'll turn that move into an orbit as it tries to keep me at the same distance from the camera on the way around. Whoa, what was that? Oh, it's a tree there. Well, at least we know obstacle avoidance works. Maybe we'd better move in the other direction in the circle around me. That might be a little safer. Looks like ActiveTrack Spotlight mode works just fine. Now let's tell the Air 3 to do a return to home. It's set to calculate and optimize a return path on its own. It should land where it took off, somewhere near the second sidewalk block. Well, not perfect, but perfectly safe in the grass next to the sidewalk. We'll expect it to do better next time, maybe after a compass calibration. Thanks for watching.